Hi guys, welcome back to Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about two books, and the first book is a contemporary mystery, and the second book is a new author, a new historical romance author. So and I'm going to try to do this as fast as I can because it's like 80% humidity today, and let me tell you how I did not feel like filming today. I really enjoy filming and I really love talking about the books I read during the week to the void. So it's like, I don't have that many people in my life that read the same genres I do and stuff like that. It's just sometimes, because if you're new to this channel, I have a chronic illness and sometimes my body's just like, no, don't feel like it. And today is one of those days. So if my vibe is a little weird, I'm trying to mind over matter. This because I want to talk to you guys. So all right, anyway, enough of rambling, let's get into it. So this is gonna be the contemporary cozy mystery, Dude Magnet, The Last Picks, book 2 by Gregory Ashe. And this, okay, so the first book, this is the second book, and this was 4 stars for me. It was published 2024 and 212 pages. 4 stars. So this is a cozy mystery, and it follows Dash, or Dashel, Dawson Dane Dash, who is so confrontation avoidant. It is comical. It is comical. And usually I don't really like characters like that, but the writing is so witty that I really enjoy Dash. I really do. So in the first book, he ends his relationship with his then boyfriend Hugo, and he moves to the other side of the US. So he goes from Rhode Island to, I believe, Washington State. And he gets a job with this mystery novelist that was kind of evil Jessica Fletcher coded, if that makes sense. And he ends up staying there, and he ends up getting bequeathed, I suppose you could say, the Hemlock Mansion. Yeah, Hemlock Mansion, that's where he is. And I was like, I love the description of the old house, and I was like, oh my god, I would love an old house like that. Are you kidding me? Anyway, but I love haunted houses, so there's that. So this takes up after the first book, where he has this house he has to take care of, and he's out of a job, and he's been working on a mystery book for a very long time. He's very non-confrontational and it's very hard for him to make decisions, and normally a character like this would annoy me, but I adore him. He made really wonderful friends in the last book, and they call themselves the last pick because they're the outcasts, the people that don't get picked first. They get picked last for everything. Millie, who's very exuberant, I believe college student age. She works at a local coffee shop, and she kind of makes me think of Rose from the Golden Girls, just louder, no volume control. Sweet meaning, but yeah. And then there's, I probably not pronouncing this correctly, Keme, and he is a 17-year-old. He is non-verbal by choice. This book says by choice. He's very protective of his friends. He has a little crush on Millie. It's very cute. Fox, who is an older gay artist, who's very dramatic, very hilarious. And there is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot her name. Indra, and she's the cook and also seems to be primary caregiver for Kame, although I don't know if she's an aunt or something, because apparently he has another house that he's supposed to live at, but it's not a good situation. So they all kind of meet up at the Hemlock Mansion, and they're wonderful friends for Dash. You kind of get the impression that Dash hasn't really had these kind of friends before, so I love their friendship. In the first book, I like the start of it. In this book, I love the continuation of it, and we see how deeper their friendships are, especially with Keme. He the first book he didn't like Dash, and the second book he's so protective of him. It's really sweet. It seems like they're kind of getting a brotherly bond, and it's kind of funny because Kame 17 is acting more like the protective older brother, while Dash is, who's like in his late 20s, early 30s, I think, is kind of acting like the lost younger brother. Like, I really enjoy it. And there's a lot of funny quips and one-liners in these books, and I love the friendship. And there is like a will they, won't they with Deputy Bobby, but Deputy Bobby is in a relationship. So I do like that the author isn't making Dash like a homewrecker, because that's just not who Dash is, you know? So I really like that. It's just like they're both attracted to each other. They both think they're great, but Deputy Bobby is in a relationship with Wes. So, you know, Dash is like, he is friend zoned, you know, I'm not gonna go there. And I'm like, good for you, Dash, you know. The mystery is okay, so I'm trying not to say so basically. Let's see how good that happens. Let's see how good I am at that. Probably not good. Anyway, this huge mansion he has to take care of, and it's a historical site. So Millie's idea, and it's a smart idea. Also, one that is going to be a lot of headaches, making it into a wedding venue, which is a brilliant idea because this house sounds gorgeous. But also, I used to, in another life, I was a florist, and we did weddings, and oh my God, well that is just white hair inducing stress, right? So of course it opens up with the typical entitled, wealthy bride and father of the bride, you know, things like, oh, we have to change the ceiling because it's not a good acoustics, and it's like, no, it's a historical site, don't even touch that, you know. The groom has a twin brother. What's the twin brother's name? I don't remember. Did I write it down? No, I did not. Oops. Is hitting on Dash, and Kemi does not like him. So I'm like, okay, I think Kemi's a good judge of character, so he does not like him, but Dash is like, I'll give him a try. And then Dash's ex-boyfriend Hugo shows up saying that he wants to like get back together with Dash. He says that, but literally 5 hours after saying he's gonna fight for him and Dash to be together, he's on this universe's version of Grindr and goes on a date and bumps into Dash, the twin brother, and Hugo on his date. Like, so, you know, red flags, obviously, because you can't say, oh, I want us to try to win back your ex-boyfriend, and at the same breath hook up with somebody else. Like, are you kidding me? So his date's twin brother, the groom, ends up, you know, and that's where the mystery takes off. I will say the mystery had fun twists and turns. There was an obvious red herring that was so obvious that the characters in the book were like, nah, that's too obvious. I was like, I do like the irreverent humor in this series. I like it a lot. I will say the mystery itself, I would give like 3 stars, just because I think, looking back on it, I think there could be a little bit more subtle hints on who the real killer was. Same thing with the first book, but the confrontation was on the page. We love that. We love that. Bloodthirsty, give me it. It was intense, and like, just like the first book, the confrontation was intense, and you know, also I'm starting to feel like maybe the police department should hire Dash to get confessions out of people, because he just stands next to people and they just confess to these murders. Like, what? And it was so funny in this, because this is why I say this book has a lot of humor that I really enjoy, because in the scene, like, Dash is trying to be like, you did this because, and like the murderer just blurts out why he did it, the expedite, like, just evil villain monologues the whole thing, and Dash is like, well, you're not even letting me talk. Like, it's very funny. Like, it was very funny how Dash is like, I can almost see it on like a comedy mystery show. You know what I mean? It was really funny. And again, Dash with his friends, really funny. I love their friendship. I will say on the romantic side, how the book ended, I was like, oh my God, what do you mean that's happening? What do you mean? And I'm like, this is just a ploy to make me read the third book. Joke's on you. I was going to read it anyway. I don't think that's jokes on me. I think that's more jokes on me than jokes on the author. But yeah, I like it, and I'm really enjoying this new author a lot. I like their pacing. I like their humor. I like the little self-flagellation in there sometimes, a little self-irreverence about like cozy mysteries, or how like the bad guy's just expeditioning, like not expeditioning, that's not the right word, just monologuing like why they killed the person and why, you know, like really this department should just hire Dashiell to just like sit in front of people who they think are murderers and like see if they just explode in, you know, testimony and be like, yes, I did this, and because like confessions, yes, I did this because testimonies. I'm really saying the wrong word for things today. I'm sorry. So the second book is a historical romance called Grace, the Shackleford Sisters, book 1 by Beverley Watts, published in 2020 and 188 pages. This centers around the oldest daughter, Grace. She is the oldest daughter of Reverend Shackleford. He has 8 girls and 1 boy, and the boy Anthony's the youngest, and he's like 5, and he's like 3. He's on his 3rd wife, and this takes place, well, they mentioned a certain battle, so I'm like, okay, this takes place like 1805 ish, right? So okay, this was 2 stars. I am going to give this series a little bit more of a try, because I did notice when I was looking into the series that the second book seems to be a little bit more well liked. So I am going to give it another try, especially 2 stars. 2 stars, you guys know, if you're here for a while, 2 stars isn't like a death for me for an author, because sometimes not all the books hit, right? And so I try to give those authors more chances, different series, different books, because, you know, there could be my new favorite 5 star. You never know, right? It's more 1 star that is like, I don't think this author's for me. You know what I mean? 2 stars, like, okay, I'm gonna give him a try. You know, 3 stars is I enjoyed myself, but I didn't like love it. 4 stars, like I had a great time, but am I going to recommend this to somebody that wants to get into this genre for the first time? So that's what 5 stars is for me. You know, that 5 stars is like, I loved it. And if someone wanted to get into cozy mystery, historical romance, whatever, am I going to be like, you should read this book to get into the genre? Okay? Little quick explanation of my star ratings. Great. Okay, so this book, I found it a bit boring. And it had all the elements for it not to be boring. We get 3 POVs. We get Grace's POV, and we get Nicholas Sinclair POV. He is the male lead, and he is a duke. And then we get the father, Grace's father's POV. I feel like the father ruined the book for me. Without him, it would have been 3 stars, you know, maybe even 4. It's the reference seemed like a really odd writing crutch to being told and not shown what's happening. I think because he's like telling us that Grace is clumsy and she's unruly, and how am I going to get her married off? It's a historical romance. Like, you're reading it, you go into the assumption that the female lead has to get married because, you know, what else is she gonna do? There's no rights. She has no rights, you know. So we kind of go into historical romance readers. We kind of go into that, knowing that, right? And it was just surprising because in Grace's POV and Nicholas' POV, I liked those POVs. It told us a lot about these characters, and I liked them. I didn't feel like I had enough time with them to really root for them, and I feel like the Reverend took up too much page space for it, you know? And it was supposed to be like oh, enemies to lovers almost, because when they meet, they have a misunderstanding and then don't like each other. The misunderstanding was lukewarm. Like, it was boring. She fell asleep under a tree that happens to be on his property. He's like, hey, don't fall asleep under this tree. And he wasn't like mad about it. He's just like, what is this random woman sleeping in the middle of the field by herself? This is like dangerous. And she, for some reason, took offense. I don't know why she took offense. That's the thing, like, you don't know why she took offense, right? And Nicholas, I really wish we had more time with him, because he was a fascinating character. He comes back from the war. He is injured, and his father has passed on, so he gets the dukeship. He is scarred and thinks he's like hideous. Very Beauty and the Beast vibes. I couldn't help but like, it stuck to me the first time. I was like, oh, this is like Beauty and the Beast. And it just, that thought, that comparison wouldn't go away. Especially when the big ball to announce her, she's wearing yellow, like a gold dress. I was like, okay, this is very Beauty and the Beast coded. But like, it could have been better. You know, it could have been better. And he's like really bad tempered. Probably because he has PTSD, nightmares of the war, you know. He's injured, so probably in a lot of pain. So he's like beastly like that, right? And he doesn't want to deal with London. And he's like, you know what? The Reverend has daughters. I'm sure they're dutiful and meek because it's the Reverend. I'll marry one of them. Like, it's very much like arranged marriage, easy peasy, right? I think there's some scenes where you're supposed to be funny. I thought it was like because we weren't with Grace enough, because she faints like twice. She throws up on the Duke once. And I was like, I feel like if we had more time with Grace and less time with her idiot father, we could get who she is. Because I didn't feel like I understood her personality, right? She's the oldest. She likes reading. She faints at the drop of a hat. You know, and then when they fell in love, I was like, when we're in their POVs and they love each other, but they haven't told each other yet, I'm like, do you? What? But why? Like, how? So I feel like it just, the Reverend being the third POV just cut our time short with these two main characters, which was already short, right? And so for this book, my biggest critique is I wanted more of Grace. I wanted more of Nicholas. I wanted to dive in to their emotions growing slowly over time for each other. When there's one part, like third act conflict, I was like, oh no, like I did get invested, right? But I felt like I could have been more invested if I just could sink my teeth into them a little bit more. Third act conflict, I was like, oh no. And how it resolved, I was like, that's a little too easy. Not that like the problem resolved, but Nicholas does something, acts like a beast, and then apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, it's okay, I forgive you. And I was like, no, can we not, can we just show him like trying to make it up to her before he apologizes? Just a little bit, just like a little bit. Like, he went out in the rain, not in the rain. No, he went out horseback riding. He hasn't horseback rid since his twin brother passed on. And I just realized both books have twin brothers in it. It's so weird when two completely different books from two completely different genres has something in common like that. But it happens to me a lot. Anyway, to go find her. And I just like, I feel like if it was, because it was rained when his brother died, right? So I feel like if it rained and he was like fighting through horrible nightmares and like horrible anxiety to get to her, I feel like he would have earned the forgiveness a little bit. But because like he was beastly, and then he's like found her on a horse, like he rode to find her. He's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I forgive you. I was like, no, make him work for it, girl. Make him work for it. Another thing I hated about the Reverend, he made everything worse. And he's always complaining about how unruly his kids are. Well, like, that's your job, bro. Like, your job was to raise your kids. And it seems like your first wife and your second wife both passed, right? But it was still your job. Your girls are unruly because you didn't do the right thing. And at this time, he didn't hire like a companion as a chaperone for the girls, which would have been appropriate. You know, and I liked at Grace's lowest point, she kind of realizes that, yeah, she did was wrong, but also like her father didn't even put any of the work, and the father refuses to have accountability for what he did. Like, he's like, oh, it's not my fault. And then when he makes things so much worse, he's like, oh, it's not my fault. She shouldn't have done what she did. It was kind of a stupid, I felt the third act conflict was kind of dumb. Like, I get how like rumors in those days could have ruined people, but it was a little dumb. It was kind of dumb why she did it, and it was kind of dumb, like, I just wanted more. I wanted more, you know? So that's not a horrible critique of this book. I felt like if the Reverend wasn't there, then we would have been shown more of Grace. We would have been shown more Nicholas, and we could have really fallen in love with these characters and really have rooted for them a little bit more. I will say, I think what causes the third act conflict was a little lame. I think it could have been like kicked up a little bit to actually be like disastrous, especially since Nicholas in his POV has internalized so many times how he doesn't give a rat's about what the English ton thinks of him, especially since he's a duke, you know, and also he's like a soldier, so he's a duke, you know, so high, the highest among the ton, except for the royal family, of course, and like he's a soldier that lived through some horrific things, and like a high up soldier. So it's just like, I didn't buy that he would do what he did for the, you know, like, I don't want to give too much away because like it wasn't horrible and maybe you guys would like it. I just wanted more of it. So that's my biggest critique. Get the freaking Reverend out of here. I don't give a shit about his POV. He's a horrible parent. I do think he cares about his kids, so I'm not saying he's like an abuser or anything. It's just like very hands off, and then wonder why his kids are so undisciplined. Oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, like, he just made things worse, and I think he was supposed to be like the comic relief. He just annoyed me the whole time, and his plans to make everything right made no sense. Like, no sense. Like, he dresses up as a woman, and like, I still don't know why that would have made the situation better, because it didn't. Like, his stooge made it better, because the stooge was just like, hey, you're being an idiot, this is why this happened, make it right. Of course the stooge was like terrified while he was saying it, but at least he said it, you know? So that's that with Beverly Watts. I am gonna give her another try. I'm gonna try I think the second one is Tempest or Temperance. Temperance is the second, like, Grace's younger sister. So that's going to be it for me. I'm going to, I don't know, have like a ton of coffee. I don't want to. It's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.